Good day, grade 9. So today we'll be discussing how to solve angle of elevation. So here's an example problem that deals with angle of elevation. So sabi, Brian's kite is flying above a field at the end of 65 meters of string. So highlight na natin itong mga importanteng info para at least mamaya dire-diretso na tayo ng solve. So there is a 65 meters of string yung kite natin. Now, the angle of elevation of the kite measures 70 degrees. And Brian is holding the kite 1.2 meters off the ground. How high above the ground is the kite flying? Now, take into consideration daw na si Brian ay pinalilipad yung kite sa taas na 1.2 meter mula sa ground. So, pag magsasolve tayo ng angle of elevation, ang una natin gagawin ay to make sure to illustrate our problem. Now, since angle of elevation to, ididiretso ko na ng drawing ng ating right triangle like this one. So, let's say this is our right triangle. Ayan. So, label lang natin yung unang mga given. So, una, we have angle of elevation of the kite measure 70 degrees. So, ito yung part, o ito yung horizontal line. Ito yung ating string ng kite. Then, that would mean, ito yung 65 meters of string. Then, ang sabi, the angle of elevation of the kite is 70 degrees. So, 70 degrees daw to. Then, take into consideration na ang sabi, si Brian daw ay hawak itong kite sa taas na 1.2 meters. Okay? So, hinahanap daw po kung gaano kataas mula sa ground yung paglipad ng ating kite. So, kung ito yung ating ground, tandaan natin na aside from we're looking for the value of x here, mula dito hanggang dito, we're also going to include this part. Kasi mula sa ground daw, pinalilipad yung kite ng 1.2 meters high. So, which means, kapag nakuha na natin yung taas na to, para makuha yung total height above the ground ng kite, kunin natin to, tas plus natin yung 1.2. So, take into consideration na may 1.2 meters din doon. Now, tandaan, since ito ay ground, alam natin na 90 degrees to, and ito will be parallel and at the same time congruent to one another. So, from here, we have our reference angle which is 70 degrees. So, this will be our, lagyan lang natin nga pala ng symbol ng right angle. So, reference angle, this will be our opposite side, and this is the hypotenuse. Since we have opposite and hypotenuse sa trigonometric ratio, that would be sine. So, that would be, lagay lang natin para lang hindi makalimutan. So, ang gagamitin natin ay sine to solve for the value of x. So, that would be sine 70 degrees is equal to the opposite, which is x, over the hypotenuse, which is 65. May invisible 1 dito. So, cross-multiplying, that would be 1 times x, that is x, is now equal to 65 times sine 70 degrees. Tandaan, nag-cross-multiply lang po tayo. So, ito, then ito. Itong part na to. Okay. Now, you can use your calculator now. That would be 65 times sine 70 is now equal to 61.08. So, the value of x is 61.08 meters. Now, take into consideration na yung value ng x mula dito hanggang dito lang po. Then, meron pa daw 1.2 meters from the ground doon sa pagpapalipad ng kite. So, in total, the total height of the kite, which is flying from the ground, would be 61.08 plus, so answer, which is 61.08 ... This is a non-terminating decimal, plus 1.2, and that is 62.28 meters. So the total height of the kite flying from the ground is 62.28 meters.